Another unexpected lucid dream was had this morning. It started pretty cool though. I was in like a really pretty looking video game world. Almost looked like Xenoblade Chronicles. And there were these really cool looking trees, and these trees had some of those wooden ladders hanging down from them, like those ones that you'll see hanging down from a tree house where it's basically just two ropes and then wooden planks in between them that you climb up. And since climbing is a lot easier in dreams, apparently, I was able to climb with just my handses, just like doing that, just like having a good time, and it was pretty fun. And then when I started getting towards the top of the tree, the ladder started like swinging around the tree like that, and I saw in the distance another tree with ladders, so I let go of the ladder while it was spinning, and so it threw me towards the next tree, and I grabbed onto one of them ladders, and I was just doing this, swinging around and then jumping from ladder to ladder, from tree to tree, having the time of my life. And then later on, I was hanging onto this one ladder, swinging around this one tree, and I started spinning a bit faster and faster. And then I looked toward the center of the tree, like, the leafy bit, the bushy leafy part at the top. And it started to look like the moon. And when I started to see it as the moon, the sky and, basically all the surroundings started looking like outer space. And you could see like stars in the distance and stuff. And I was like, that's a little bit too freaky. Like, I don't want to be out in outer space. So I just pictured it back as a tree and pictured the space as the sky again. And I got back to the same scenery that I was originally. And then and then the dream changed around me a bit more drastically, and it became to where I was in like a holding cell, like as if I was being held captive. But I wasn't scared because like I knew it was just a dream and I could change it, whenever I wanted to. But I was just chilling in there and kicking the doors. I was having fun like jumping up and then kicking one door and then kicking the next one like before I fell down. Because, you can last longer in the air in dreams. And then the area with the door that I was previously kicking, it switched into like a small little area with like some lockers and stuff. And so I walked into it and I was looking at the lockers, and then instead of just like two or three lockers like it was at first, it became just a big old row of lockers, like a locker room. So I was looking inside the lockers, and I don't think they were locked. I just opened them, and there was nothing in there. I jumped up to look on top of the lockers to see if there was anything there. There was nothing there. And then some people started walking into the room, and I was like, oh shit. So while I was on the locker, I just, climbed on all the way and, hid there, And then the dream changed around me again to where I was in my room at my mom's house, but instead of my current mom's house room, I was in the last room that was my room at my mom's house, which is a smaller room than the one I have right now. And I walked out the door, and I saw my mom hanging out in the hallway, and it was real creepy like, because she was covered in a blanket. She was covered in a blanket, and she was just huddled there on the floor. And so I walked up to her, and I was like, hey. And then she looked up at me, and I was a little afraid that like a creepy thing was gonna she would have like an ugly face or something. So I tried to picture her with a normal face, but at the same time I was accidentally like the anticipation of a monster face was also having me picture a monster face, and I was like, no, don't picture that. So I was trying to picture the normal mom face, and then when she looked up at me, she looked like she had a normal mom face, but it was just a little bit creepy. Like she was like hella tired, like from staying up for an entire week or something. So she looked up at me, and then she huddled back down, and I was like, all right, I guess you're cold, so you can just huddle there on the hallway. And then I went downstairs, and I wanted some desserts. I love to eat me some desserts in dreams. They're always very tasty. But at the same time, the creepiness level of this dream was getting to me a little bit. Like, when I'm prepared for a lucid dream, like when I'm going into the dream knowing that I'm gonna lucid dream, then it's a lot easier for me to have control of the dream and make it not creepy, make it normal looking. But again, I wasn't expecting to have this lucid dream, so I wasn't prepared for it, so I just kind of, I decided to just try to wake myself up because I didn't really feel like, working to change the dream around me when I was just, I was just planning on sleeping. So I went back to my room and I did what I usually do to wake myself up, which was breathe irregularly. I hear that that helps to wake yourself up, like going like, just like, doing really random breathing things. And I think that worked for me once, but it hasn't worked for me since. And these days, whenever I do that, it just kind of changes the dream around me or makes me have a false awakening, but I'm still in a dream. And then I tried this other thing that works for me sometimes, which was I closed my eyes and I jumped up into the air and I started spinning backwards. And yeah, I was just there spinning backwards in the air with my eyes closed and it was all dark around me. And I was hoping that would wake me up, but I just had another false awakening. And I thought I had woken up for real, but no, I realized later that, fuck, I'm still in a dream. I got the coughs. But yeah, these past two lucid dreams that I have, blah, blah, blah. These past two lucid dreams that I have had have confirmed my theory, and this theory is the theory that if you wake up in the early morning when the sun is already up, and then go back to sleep when the sun is still up, then it's a lot easier to become lucid. These last two lucid dreams I've had were, that was the case. I woke up with the sunlight up and then went back to bed with the sunlight still up. So yeah, and I don't think I've ever had it to where I woke up in the morning when the sun is up. And then I have to explain this every time. I probably don't have to explain this every time, but I feel like I do. And so I do. Anyways, I don't remember there being a time when I, enacted this theory and it hasn't worked. And so, yeah, it has a 100% success rate is what I'm trying to say. And so, yeah, I think it's confirmed by my standards. So, yeah, that's really encouraging that I, figured out a way to have a lucid dream basically whenever I want to. But it has to be on a day where I don't have anything to do, like no work or no anything in the morning. But I'll always be able to do that on the weekend. I don't know if it'll work if I go, like, let's say I go to work. Like, I don't even have a fucking job right now. But, hopefully I will soon. But when I do, I'm going to try and see if I can go to sleep. Ooh! If I wake up in the morning when the sun is still up and then go to work and then get back from work and then fall asleep right when I get back from work when the sun is still up, then possibly I will have a lucid dream. I don't know if, spending 8 hours between the time you woke up and you go back to sleep is going to be too long. It might be, but we shall see. I like to point at the camera. But yeah, and also the next time that I, enact this theory, I want to put on my sleep mask so that way the sunlight doesn't wake me up completely. And so that way I can, stay in the dream for longer. And probably, hopefully, have some more control over it. And I think that's all for now. So yeah, peace to the Middle East.